Hi, hello and welcome to another episode of UKversus. I am once again joined by Richard Booty Storm Plumber, following
Yeah,
his current run of Mount Lady Stormer Blades. And yeah, how have you been, Richard? How are you dealing with the loss last week?
yeah, I'm all good. I'm obviously quite happy with the band. Yeah, hi everyone. Um, yeah, I'm happy with them. Like Back Alley felt like it was unnecessary, but I also don't hate it.
I mean, people have been asking for
Um,
Back Alley for literal months.
yeah, it sort of feels like it probably should have been banned a few months ago, and now it probably doesn't need to be banned. But like, yeah,
I think there was more
you
call
know,
for it to be banned now because of Tasty Riff.
maybe. I mean, it's a bit. I mean, part of the reason for banning was like ubiquity, right? Just being in every single deck. But yeah. Yeah, I guess just before we start quickly, obviously if you're watching this on Twitch, thank you very much for joining us.
Uh,
Obviously, chuck us a follow and feel free to go check out our YouTube channel. If you're watching this on YouTube,
And if you
thank you very
haven't
much.
signed up for the new UGN yet, if when you do sign up, if you let them know that the content creator that Dabby guy sent you, it gets you some
Yeah,
extra LP and just lets them know that people are actually watching our content.
exactly. And yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, do the whole like, subscribe thing. And yeah, thanks for watching our stuff.
Yeah, big thanks to everyone that's here.
Right, my dog wanted to join in.
But yeah, so
Uh,
for those that were unaware, last Tuesday the bans came down and Back Alley Haymaker and Capture Lever Doers got hit. The Capture Lever Doers hit everyone was expecting after the winter warm up where it was everywhere. After the outcry for it with Ryuku and Mirio, it needed to go. It was a very powerful card. People have been asking for Back Alley to go for a while. It did a lot for its stats. And then we got Tasty Rift, which does a lot of the same things. And
yeah,
I can see why it went. It's just, it proves that promo armor isn't a thing. And I think that's a great thing for them to prove as well.
yes and no. So Catry would always need to go. As I said before, no one does fair things with the card. It's not just something your players like a mid breaker one with some momentum hate. It's people are doing crazy things with it and unfair things, and it is just effectively time walk right.
And it hasn't killed Ryuku. Ryuku's still a very powerful character. It's just not
Yeah,
25
exactly.
damage turn 2 crazy.
But like Ryukyu and Mirio and like Jiro 2 on good, they're just taking extra turns, they're just looping stuff, they're just doing nuts things. You've got ways of tutoring it now because it shares it shares good with Fierce Wings, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Jiro 2 could do some very silly things with it and
yeah.
allowed you
So
to
again,
just keep.
it's not doing fair things.
Yeah.
It's not being played in a fair way. It's doing busted things. There are characters for whom momentum is too free. So Ryukyu and Mirio, momentum is too free for them with like
It
Phantom
opened up
Threat.
Tasty Riff looping with things like UA High because you could just get a momentum, play Dramatic Slash, get rid of the momentum, build into UA High, then go remove UA High to go get a Tasty Riff.
Yeah. Like I say, it's not doing fair things. You need to go. Back Alley. It's very mid, right? Is always my thing with Back Alley, but it's just one of those things that everyone just plays. It's like those symbols everyone plays for. And we talked previously about like the life packages and the good packages needing a bit of a hit. Obviously, Capture hits good a bit, but like that was its own thing. I think toning down good and life.
Mirio took a huge hit.
And Earth as well, like toning down the 3 Back Alley symbols.
Overhaul Life. We're back with the repeated smash.
Life and Earth played it right, and then the good punch packages played it.
Everyone on his symbol played it.
Yeah, toning those symbols down, taking away part of their value engine, which obviously Back Alley was. It was like draw a card. You build out your stage with it, or like he's got randomly got EX2. The Jiro deck, the Jiro good deck played it, and obviously got value from there because it's randomly a charge. Like it's greater than the sum of its parts, right? Yeah, like you quite often you just blocked it a lot, but starting off with a back alley, getting stunned too if you're not having stun hate. I'm okay with it going. I don't think it necessarily needed to go, but also I'm happy. I'm
There's
not
still one
angry
more
with
ban
them at
list
all.
before the HLC. We could see it come back, but very unlikely.
No,
Or we could. I don't think we're going to see any more bans. But
I don't think we'll see any more bans, and unless someone breaks something, I don't think there's going to be any more bans. I don't think it's going to come back. There's stuff they conceivably could have returned, right? They could have
I think they
looked
won't.
at,
They
like for
if Jetburn
example,
hadn't come out yet, then if Set One had rotated with Jetburn, we might not have seen anything. But the way that Capture Evil Doers interacted with Jetburn was just too great.
yeah, but like for example, look at Frog Lashing, right? Yeah, it's a busted card. Compare it to Repeated, and actually Repeated seems better. So, it probably isn't, but you could easily make that comparison, right? That Repeated does a lot of the same things Frog Lashing does. Like it's just got, just readies a bunch of cards. I mean, Frog Lashing just came in for so much damage, and I guess a lot of problems. So they're not quite the same, but they could have considered things like that. I don't think anything necessarily on the ban list currently should come back.
No.
They could have gone back and maybe unerrated Kirishima 1, maybe thought about Kirishima 2. But yeah.
It's hard to say, but it's good to see.
I think once it's on, it's on. I don't think they'll go back and remove stuff.
No, I don't think. I think this is our meta up until Yu Hakusho in February.
And it's good, like I say, Ryukyu's still a player in the format. Like she's still good. Like she's still, all of her attacks are cantrips that can snap her momentum. That's still very powerful, right? Like she hasn't necessarily gone anywhere. She's just not.
No, it's not like the Ojiro 2 nuke or the Kirishima 2 nuke.
Yeah.
This is more of a soft touch going, okay, if Ryukyu is still a problem without Capture Evil Doers, then we'll touch them.
But like she still effectively gets to take 3 turns, right? She still has Vast Strength and her Ultra Rare, which effectively give her 3 turns. So, and hello to Chat Squirny. So I'm assuming you're an old head. Apologies, I don't know who you are in real life, but obviously know to dox you here.
She does get to take 3
turns,
but
none of the My Hero stuff has ever come back.
Ryukyu can still take 3 turns, but it puts things like learning the standards, Eri Smiles back on the table as counters.
Yeah, exactly. Learning the standards, Eri Smiles, breaker blocks, right? They become a lot more valuable.
Cheerful Uppercut. Cheerful Uppercut was one of the answers I wanted to play, but it's like there's no point if you can just clear the card pool.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't think it basically means there's more counterplay to her, right? Capture sort of got around a lot of the counterplay that there was to those Ryukyu strings. You put stress on her resources, and it's not like that kind of playing 5 attacks in a turn thing is unheard of, right? Look at Tokiyami. He does the similar thing, right? He plays orange card, blue card, and plays 5 or 6 attacks in a turn, and similarly effectively ignores progressive and needs to see the pieces, right? She needs to see her Ultra Rare. Tokiyami needs to see his, in Dark Shadow Ruin, to do the thing. And the same answers are similarly decent, things like learning the standards. Eri Smiles, hello, Lenoko.
Hello. Great to have you here.
Yeah, the same, it means there are answers, whereas before Capture Evil Doers kind of invalidated a lot of those answers.
Yeah.
And, especially things like maybe you were a Mirio playing into where it's like, okay, I've got my, or you've got a cheerleader or something that says, okay, I get to flash the Ultra Rare. Actually, no, I'll play my first attack, I'll capture and steal that momentum you're hoping to cheerleader with, and then I'm going to draw a second capture and have another turn. So, again, it means there's a lot more counterplay going on there, and I think it's fine to just say, okay, she's still a powerful character, but she's got answers, and now let's see where the dice fall, right?
Yeah, and it now means that the meta opens up again, because everyone sort of beelined into Ryukyu or Ryukyu counters,
Yeah, I mean, like she just again, she was doing too much unfair to not do it. Right? It was just kind of, I could play, my deck. I could play something that's really good, or I could just play the deck that's just utterly busted and does crazy things. And
I'm expecting Asui 3 to be the next Boogeyman.
Possibly, yeah. I think she's very, very good. But it's just like a lot of these decks were like, I could explore doing this cool stuff, or I could just fling 17 attacks in one turn with Ryukyu.
Yeah.
So it kind of, remove that kind of.
And these defensive characters like Asui and stuff like that didn't have time to set up. There was no point playing a character that benefits from blocking because Ryukyu wasn't blocking. It's like, if you can kill me, you can kill me, but I'm going to out damage you.
And yeah, I mean, like, again, she, like most of these sort of 6-hand sort of hyper-aggressive characters, sorry, don't keep looking face, they usually rely on having one defense, right? They usually rely on having one good block or one defensive piece to try and just effectively survive your turn.
Yeah.
To then key on the crackback. Like, that's how it sort of works. So they just want to be able to block one thing well with a breaker or, a single low in the standards to try and throw you off. They generally rely on like one or two, okay, hopefully this will get me there, and use their life total as a resource, knowing that, okay, I'm not going to use all these attacks in my hand as blocks and do a sculpt and then kill you.
Yeah, it was, Ryukyu's a great aspect showing of life is a resource. It's a great showing of. It had a very low skill ceiling, in my opinion, but the players that were able to exploit to the fullest were very good players, as we saw with Greg Moss and with Jose. It was players who are very well known who have got there that were able to top with her, and then Jose went on to move her.
I think a lot of the reason why we didn't see like a lot more copies in the top 8 was simply because the Ryukyus were knocking each other out. So
yeah, I was going to say, and they were all facing each other in the last round.
Yeah, I don't remember what the RLE was. So it was the American one after Australia. So obviously Australia got dominated by Ojiro 2, and then there was the following one in the US. I can't remember the name of the city it was in. And everyone was expecting it just to be an Ojiro 2 fest. It ended up not being. But part of that is because, like, 2 or 3 rounds before the end, all the Ojiro 2 players were knocking each other out because they were all at the top tables, and then they would just knock each other out.
I mean, it's the same with. It's kind of like the same with our nationals. There were the amount of Eraserheads and overhauls that were facing each other in the final round.
Yeah.
Liam Chona and Mike Hardiman faced each other in the last round, and they both still were able to top. But it was crazy to see how many characters went up and essentially had mirror matches towards the end.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that went on the winter webcam warm-up, whatever it's called. Whereas I think a lot of the Ryukyus were just knocking each other out contention in those last couple of rounds. But yeah, capture needed to go. I think everyone knew it.
Yeah.
I think it's not completely unreasonable they gave it a month to see, and just to see if it actually was a problem. Obviously, everyone was calling for it to be banned last month. I think it's okay to let it have this like one premier event to see if that was a thing.
It was a much smarter move to ban it with a backup of data than to ban it under speculation of what might happen. Because yes, there are going to be a lot of players that go, we understand why you banned it, and we could see this is a problematic combo, but there's also going to be a lot of players who are like, yeah, but we didn't get to see if that was actually a problem. We didn't actually get to see if we could counter that.
Yeah.
And
then talking of players who cringe their way into top 8 with Ryukyu, hello Greg to chat.
Hi Greg. I'm going to put a dancing Murray emote in for you.
Yeah, obviously our boy Greg did very well. Really great to see a UK guy getting into that top 8.
Yeah, top 8. You missed out on the vouchers, which were top 4, which is a real shame. But he did get paired up against Jose, and that was always going to be a massive.
And it's going to be a coin flip, that match anyway. Jose's arguably the best player in the game.
Definitely the best webcam player.
Yeah. And he got to go first. So,
But
like,
yeah, I expect Greg to be back in January, and I'm hoping that he gets to come out to the HLC because it'd be great to see some people, some international people steal some last chance qualify seats.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, you had to hope he checked twos going second. Like, you just had to hope he checked all his twos and got lucky. So, obviously, Greg, if you go out this time, remember Pepto Bismol. Say no more. Capture to go. Great, it's gone.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the format opens up a bit more now, and it's not just the silly capture take 17 turns in a row.
Well, there's going to be a great way to actually see if how the meta opens up. If I can, let me just pull up there. I think.
But there was a lot of cool decks, like the Edge Shot deck, really cool. I'm just really high on Void at the moment. I think it's got a lot of answers and a lot.
I've been testing out Void. I've got some stuff on it, but speaking of chances to test on Saturday, Tam Cardwell and Let's Talk UVS are hosting their Winter Clash.
Yeah.
They currently need, I think, 49 more players to double the prize pot to 1,000. So the way obviously this is working, obviously it's 12 entry, 10's going into the prize pool. They've got 2 cases to go around that top 8 as well, and play mats. And they've had I believe, anonymous at this point donor. Yeah.
Actually, I think David talked about in the video. I think it was like one of the local play groups or something. They decided to want to support it, which is really, really cool. Obviously, go watch his video about it. Let's Talk UVS. They donated $500 into the prize pool and said if you can get 100 players, then we'll donate another 500. So in terms of prizing, it's really, really good. So I believe so it's 10 a.m. Central Time, which I believe is 4 p.m. GMT.
4 p.m. GMT, and then top cuts should start around 7 p.m., which will be what's that? 1 a.m. for us.
Yeah, so I want to. I'd love to. I don't know whether I can. There's 2 reasons. One, obviously, time zone is annoying, and secondly, it's I need to do Christmas shopping on Sunday with the boy, so I don't know if I'll be home in time to start. But obviously, if you
this is just a 1-day event. This is just a 1-day event.
Yeah.
So it starts on Saturday at 4 p.m. and would end about 4 a.m. for us.
Yeah. So I've got my parents coming over for dinner on the Sunday, so it's probably just not going to happen for me. I'd love to, but
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see if I can try, but we're getting ready to go up north next week to see family. So it all depends on how the cards fall and how Flynn is. But I really want to take part because I need to get HLC practice in. Now that the bands have come down, I can start being a bit more serious.
Really good for that. Obviously, we got the other winter warm-up webcam coming in January. I think the timing for that one is a bit worse for UK time. I think it starts at
that was a lot. I think that starts 7 p.m. our time.
Yeah.
Speaking of an event that is family friendly, is more UK friendly, and is the week after the winter warm up, is the Red Riot Games serialized Dabby Chrome webcam event. This has been hosted by a Canadian star that online. $10 entry, and winner walks away with Dabby Chrome.
Yeah, sweet. Again, it's nice to see obviously all these places and shops and content creators and stuff, and obviously UVS Games themselves, having these events in the off season. Obviously, last year we didn't really have that. We didn't really have much in the off season, and now we have, and that's great. Keeps those competitive juices flowing, makes Jetburn a lot more relevant.
I also think this is a great way to deal with chromes because I kind of noticed that the amount of Dabby chromes that have been pulled, the market is saturated with them. There's so many, and not enough people want them.
We might get them on the cheap.
But yeah, I mean, if I can enter for $10 and walk away with Dabby Chrome, I'm sitting pretty.
Yeah, exactly.
But the chance that I'm not going to do that, but it's still on there. But there's so many chromes floating around at the minute that the market's a bit saturated. But
yeah, again, it's probably I think it's one of those things where supply overstems demand, right?
yeah, there's only like 4 or 5 people actually want a Dabby Chrome that will play the game. The rest are all collectors.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really cool. We've got these events.
Oh yeah, absolutely amazing. But I would like to see the Winter Clash one get to the 100 player mark. But
yeah,
hopefully it gets there because Tam and David are doing some really good stuff with that. They've been pushing it.
yeah.
The last
But,
event went really well.
What? I think they were at 51 or something last time I checked.
Yeah, I think it was 51 this morning.
Yeah, for like a third party event, that's still really good. Like, and a lot of people will sign up last minute. So I wouldn't be surprised if they hit the 100. So that's like really, really good showing. Obviously, like, it was really disappointing for watching when Rochester tried to do the similar thing and obviously only got like about 12 people or something, like a few months ago. Again, it's just one of those things where time zone just meant I can't really compete in these things. But yeah, it's good to see these events getting the numbers, getting the support, and just like I said, keeping those competitive juices flowing, and keeping like the meta sort of churning and seeing what's coming out.
Yeah, I mean, Patriot are still running the work study events on Tuesdays. I need to jump into some more of those as well. They're still ticking over quite well, but it's a lot harder in the winter.
Yeah,
and
again for me, it's just like where I'm like Mondays is like board game club for me. Fridays is Frosthaven evening. Thursdays, every other Thursday, I take the boy to D&D and then do.
We also need to track down these Spanish players that did the 3-day event that had 90 players show up and get them into like the UK the Facebook group so we can find out when these events are going. Because I'd have flown over to Spain for a 3-day event. I just didn't know it was happening.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just hard for me to justify another evening. I'd like to take part more, but
yeah, I mean. Look, I think Southampton are starting to do regular Mondays again with the new setup, so I'm going to try and get down there a bit more. But it has been a lot since Geek Retreat closed down there. It's been very hard for me to actually get in-person games in. I haven't played in person apart from our webcam game where we did the Star Decks. Most of my games have been TTS.
You should move to Hastings. We've got a good locals going here, buddy.
Yeah. I might do, but it also depends on Robin's stuff. But moving on to the big news.
How seriously, just to take part in local.
Oh, we honestly we have. Robin has like looked at places like Sheffield and stuff just so I can actually have a bit more of a social life because I don't talk to people apart from like this. I don't talk to people. I just talk to Flynn. I go a bit crazy.
But yeah, I mean, if we've got a good locals going, there's a really good board game cafe, really family friendly, and like if you really like meth, I think Hastings is pretty good for that.
Well, now we've got a diesel car. Our mechanic said that at least once a month we do need to put it on like a big trip so it doesn't go kaput. So I need to do something to give it like a nice air out, but. We're here to talk about UVS.
If a trip out here on like a Saturday or Sunday, let me know and I'll make sure the boys are around for a locals.
But yeah, so yesterday we got the product roadmap drop. We got the nice little skit at the beginning with Levi and the team where they were talking about the previous stuff. They got a nice little hint about fighting games from the past. Hopefully we'll get some more of those in the future. But we got what's going to be coming in the future.
And so I'd just like to say I had a big disappointment with that video. There was one big thing that I think was missing, and that was lack of any sort of like cosplaying or like, when we did the last one with Paul and Lohan were kind of...
and they had the Vash and the spikes sort of stuff.
Yeah, there was none of that going on. I would like to have seen some of that. That would have been great. But, it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, it's good to see these things and knowing what's coming. Obviously, everyone loves information. In terms of like the booster sets, it's probably about what I expected.
The big question is, how many of these IPs do you actually know, Richard?
Okay, so obviously I'm aware of what Yu Yu Hakusho is, mainly because it had a previous set in Universus, but I don't really know any about the series. I just know of its existence. Obviously, I thought we might then get a second non My Hero, and then the third one be My Hero, but like obviously they don't want to necessarily pull away from it too much too quickly.
Yeah.
Obviously, knowing that it's May, having this set date is great for girl power. I'm not a huge fan of the name. It seems a little cringy. Obviously, some people have talked on Discord and hoping it's not just this really awkward, cringy waifu set
Yeah.
that just makes me
So
want to scratch
I,
my own eyes
I,
out.
I have talked to a few people about this within the game and outside the game based on the name.
Yeah.
And the My Hero Academia fans I've spoken to that are female or non-binary, like leaning towards female, have basically said to me that the name is great as long as it is an empowerment set. As long as we get
Absolutely. Yeah,
we
that's
get
what I'm
female
saying.
we get female characters in there. We get a second Magni. We get a second Midnight. We get Miss Jokes. We get a set that is about how great these characters are because My Hero Academia has come under such fire in the past for having these strong female characters that get no time or have their motivations, like Uraka, go from money for their family to I'm in love with Deku. Same with Toga, going from I just want to see the world burn to I'm in love with Deku. So,
Yeah.
but if it turns out to just be a cash grab waifu set, it could be a big issue.
Yes, that's what I'm hoping it isn't, right? Obviously, in terms of naming and stuff, there is they've got the restrictions of Toho, or I believe that's the
Yeah,
parent company of what they're happy with, right? So um, again, if it's like I don't obviously know the story. Again, I've not really got back into watching My Hero because my life got taken up with Genshin. Um, uh, and so I never really got much further than sort of the beginnings of the Shiha Sakai Undaunted Raid thing. So I've
yeah.
not got that far. So I don't know whether this matches up to anything in the storyline, or whether this is going to be like
I'm
almost like a
hoping,
bespoke
I'm
out of
hoping it's a
story
heroes clash situation where it's just a support set and it's not really following the story because that opens
Yeah.
up for characters like Ragdoll to get a second character. Where in the show they lost their quirk in the fight with All for One. You get a second character for characters like Magni that died in the Overhaul arc.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought Magni died.
Yeah, Magni died, so you can
Um,
get a second character for Magni. You can get Miss
Pussycat
Jokes, who isn't
Princess, I
really
believe.
featured that heavily into it. We can get a second recovery girl. We can get a lot, or we can get Nana. We can get Melissa Shields. If they got a bit more creative license, we can get a lot of
Rocket.
characters. We can get a lot of fan favorite characters and a lot of very powerful characters, and we can give them full support behind it as well. Especially
Yeah,
Magni.
again,
Magni is a very powerful character. And he's a playable Magni would be great, Squirny.
I think Magni's a little underrated. I don't think Magni's great, but I don't think Magni's terrible. I think Magni can do things.
But
Yeah,
we also have to be very careful as two cis men talking about a girl power set because we've got a bit. We're not the most qualified to talk about what should be in the set.
no, they wanted to be cringe, perving over shit like school children. Like that's basically what.
Yeah, we want to set from like Mina's perspective, not a set from Minata's perspective.
Exactly. So again, I hope, and I'm reasonably confident that the powers that be are not stupid enough to go that way, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But
the fact it's called girl power would be really bad if they didn't go for the empowerment side.
Yeah. It might be almost like the equivalent of like an OVA, right? Where it's just like non-story based stuff, and they just kind of almost like invented their own setting for this thing. Or it could be snapshots of all these characters in different parts of the story that haven't necessarily highlighted in the set so far. People like, is it Kendo?
Yeah, but I imagine Kendo when set 8 comes out, if it's Class 1A versus Class 1B, Kendo will get at least one card because they're very in there, but they did play parts in like the training camp arc.
Right?
Hmm?
Kendo's Funny Punch lady, right?
Yeah, Kendo is Focus Attack.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things they could do is if they make a Miss Jokes character and give her an attack called Funny Punch.
Mm-hmm.
It just to mess with the community.
Yeah. So you always have to see how it all works out.
Yeah.
Again, like I hope it's cool.
But yeah, that's coming May 17th, which will be 3 months after Yu Hakusho. So we're maybe seeing like a 3-month breakup between sets, but we haven't got anything for Attack on Titan yet.
So obviously 2 Attack on Titan sets.
Well, let's go back and just quickly mention. I know we've talked about it a lot, but coming in February, we do have Yu Hakusho, which is the second set of its spotlight. It's the Dark Tournament arc. I don't think it'll be covered, but if you want an introduction to Yu Hakusho, the live action does hit Netflix on Thursday. And hopefully they drop it all in one go because I just want to binge that. But it is a very good anime. I do recommend it to people now that I've actually watched it.
Fair. But, and obviously then we've got the whole pre-release Wish tournament thing for it.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing with the Dark Tournament set, isn't it? It's an in-store set only, and if you win the local event, you get invited to the Wish webcam event.
Yeah, where we get to make a wish. We don't know what that is. I'm assuming that we'll get information about that forthcoming at some point. But again, really cool concept. Like
it is really cool, and I like the synergy of the Wish tournament. Given that in the show, the Dark Tournament, in the Dark Tournament arc, if you win, you are given a wish as well. Yeah,
it makes sense. Like they're tying it in and obviously promoting local play, which obviously is all a positive thing.
Yeah, and the fact they've made it webcam means the Wish tournament is open to international play, which is really good because otherwise they'd have had to do 3 Wish events: one for Oceania, one for EU, and one for NA.
And again, you can't necessarily guarantee people are going to travel for it. So make it a webcam, I think is totally fine.
But yeah, I'm very excited for this, and I think I've already messaged UVS saying yes, I want to be part of this hype stuff. I really hope this is the set we get a character reveal, and I would absolutely love to get Chu or Ren.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, I don't know what these names, but they're main characters in the set. I would presume that maybe we'll get maybe a back page one, hopefully, a smaller one, because obviously
So Chu is a in the dub is a drunken Aussie who fights with knives, but is really, really cool. And Ren is a wind demon with an Irish accent because he's got red hair. Because that's how the 90s did it. If you got red hair, you're Irish.
That is fair. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. Obviously, I think there was a release of kind of a rough timeline of spoiler season, right? So we'll find out when that all happens.
That will probably for Yu Hakusho will probably go from the HLC straight into Yu Hakusho spoiler season.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 sets that were announced for quarters 3 and 4 were Attack on Titan, where I think it's one's the Survival of Humanity.
Yeah, I can't remember what the subtitle was, but they did give the first set a subtitle, right? Battle for Humanity or something.
Yeah, it's Battle for Humanity.
And then obviously there's no subtitle for the second set. I don't know enough of Attack on Titan to know sort of how many sets it's likely to be. And it'd be interesting to sort of one thing that didn't come out of the announcement is I guess what their thoughts are in terms of the future, in terms of how are we gonna how many sets a year are going to be Attack on Titan, how many sets a year are going to be My Hero, how many sets are going to be maybe one-offs, is Yu going to get more sets? Again, obviously it's very future thinking and they might not even have those plans.
So the main issue with Yu is there's only really two arcs after the Dark Tournament, and
But again, it's more like what they are considering as their tentpole
Yeah.
franchises that they are expecting to have
The
sets
big
every
thing
year
about
of.
Attack on Titan is, as far as I know, a lot of the characters don't really have much growth. They hit a power level and then they stay at it.
Hmm.
And you
Yeah,
don't get
again,
and you don't
the,
you lose more characters than you get introduced with. So it would be very hard to keep printing Attack on Titan sets.
yeah,
But
again, it'd be good to know whether they are considering Attack on Titan as like a tentpole franchise, um, the way they are because they have considered My Hero, and is My Hero
so,
still going to be a tentpole franchise going forward?
well,
You know,
yeah.
so
Welcome to the chat, Andrew. And yeah, we covered girl power, and
what,
we think I think it's going to be a sort of like Heroes Clash support set. I don't think it's going to actually be covering anything in the show.
yes, it might cover like 1A, 1B, right? Because that's effectively the next thing coming up in the sort of show.
Yeah, so there'll definitely be card art from it, especially when it comes to ones like Kendo. But hopefully we'll get some
But
back
also,
traffic as well.
the fact that this is a girl power thing, right? Now it might be 1A versus 1B. We don't know. Like when it was, I think it was Levi talking about it, right? When he was talking about it, he sort of gave the impression it's going to be a very, obviously, as you expect, girl focused one. And it sort of almost implied that all the characters were going to be the ladies, which doesn't leave room for doing much 1A, 1B things. But also, this might be a way of having this kind of set that's almost like an OVA set, right? Where it's not part of the storyline; it's a separate thing, a bit like Heroes Clash. Heroes Clash still followed a bit of like the storyline stuff, but it's more a supplementary set that isn't kind of following the story arc. That effectively allows them to string out how many sets they can do in My Hero, which I think is a good thing. You know, My Hero is very popular, and I think they need to treat it as a
They're
tentpole
also
franchise.
catching up very quickly to
Yes, exactly. So it gives them more
anime.
time to effectively have this license and have more sets without running out of storyline, right? It's a way of kind of having this almost like Heroes Clash supplementary type set that isn't kind of advancing the storyline with through the cards and allows them to effectively sort of elongate the time you can spend producing My Hero cards. Because one of the, I'll talk about this more when we get to the end of it, is making sure everyone's still bought into Universus.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, once we get through all this, we'll talk about market saturation and other companies that have done it and criticisms that have gone through that.
Yeah.
But at the minute, we'll stick with the hype and looking at just what's actually come out.
So yeah, we got two Attack on Titan sets. Again, it'd be nice to know how far they consider. You know, is Attack on Titan now going to be like a second tentpole franchise? Is it like, oh, they've got these two Attack on Titan sets and that's going to be roughly it? Is it going to be continuing? Who knows? Again, we might not. They might not even
until
know
we get more information. I imagine my headcanon is the two sets are going to be it. Maybe a third set because they're right next to each other. If you're going to have it as a 5-set thing for one for each season, it would probably make a little bit more sense to space them out a little bit and go say you have to show Attack on Titan, Girl Power, then Attack on Titan.
I think if it makes more sense to have the two sets next to each other if they're trying to introduce it as a tentpole to me. But again, we'll wait and see. But yeah, we've got 4 sets. It's cool. You know, we're sort of widening the breadth of like the universes that we're getting within Universus. Pun vaguely intended. And yeah, so it's cool. Again, I don't really know Attack on Titan, but we'll have to wait and see till sort of end of next year as to what those cards are looking like and how the sort of gameplay.
I think Attack on Titan is going to be
that anime within the cards.
Yeah, Attack on Titan is a very fast-paced, multi-zone anime with good mechanics in the actual show. I think they'll translate very well. We're going to have a lot of zone changing. I think Levi will be a Mirio Zero kind of card because he's so fast and he's so.
It's sci-fi, right? It's future stuff with like mechs and stuff, is it?
No mechs. Well,
okay.
Flash mechs. But yeah, it's it starts off as a medieval sort of thing, but it does it sort of like turn more into a futuristic sci-fi something, but it's more fantasy based than sci-fi.
Okay.
But yeah,
I
no,
mean,
it's. I think it's
the
going to be really cool.
I get around to watching some stuff about it by then, but who knows?
It's going. It's going. I think it's going to be really cool. I think how they handle transformations because it's going to be very interesting if it's a Fat Gum sort of style. But then we also.
They might do that as like a cycle of characters that do this sort of thing. They might not kind of push it that much, you know?
Oh no! It's the characters transforming into Titans is the main premise of the show. If they don't cover it, that's going to be a waste opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. You know, obviously they must have a plan. Like in terms of like the cards in this set, they'd have already been worked on, right?
So, yeah, that's just it. And I think I'm more interested in how they're going to handle defensive cards and blocking because there's not much actual defensive play from Attack on Titan. The walls are their defense.
Yeah, but we'll just we'll have to wait and see how the big brains of the company have kind of interpreted that anime into card form.
And then we got the massive news, the Challenger listing, because we knew Attack on Titan was coming, we knew Yu Hakusho was coming. What we
knew they would at least. I think, although it wasn't certain, I think that it would be a big surprise if there wasn't at least one My Hero booster set next year, right?
Yeah, that's it. So they kind of confirmed support was coming, but we wouldn't. There was no person that if you spoke to them that expected Critical Role to have Challenger decks, and not only like Arc 1 of the story, which is what's been covered by the anime from Amazon Prime, but Arc 2 as well, which I've spoken to some Critical Role fans. They are hyped. They are well up for getting hold of these cards, and hopefully I can leverage that to get a community going in my area.
Yeah. Because... I mean, obviously, I guess the thing to bear in mind is these are only Challenger decks, right? So, we've got the Cowboy Bebop and Trigun ones.
Yep, they come out in January. Spoiler season hopefully kicks off a little soon.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. So obviously we've got the Vox Machina and
whoa.
I don't know anything about
How did you pronounce that?
Machina, I guess, sorry.
Vox Machina. So you got Vox Machina and Mighty 9, which so these are D&D inspired campaigns by Critical Role.
D&D thing, right? That's sort of Critical Role. The format of what they are, like, is it just one Clash deck for Vox Machina, one Clash deck for Mighty 9? Is there a pair of them in each? We don't know.
I really hope
in terms of like the license agreement they've got with these guys, like how much they're allowed to produce, how much they've got access to.
The fact that they drop on the same date tells me that it's probably going to be one Clash decks for Vox Machina, one Clash decks for Mighty 9, and we're probably going to get a Vex and Vax for Vox Machina because they're the twins. I don't actually know much about Mighty 9. I'm going to have to go away and watch some Critical Role now, which I've been putting off, but from what I know from the show on Amazon Prime of Vox Machina, it's going to be perfect, and I think a D&D sort of style introduction through this would be great, and I'd really love to see this expand so we can get the full kind of set.
This feels like a testing the waters, right? So I don't really know anything about Critical Role. I'm aware that it's very popular, right? We've got these sort of web shows that are very popular, and obviously a lot of people were very hype about this coming in. And again, it might bring in, and part of like the beauty of the Universus stuff is that there's all these IPs and you'll find one you like, and that might bring you in and enjoy it. You love the game, and then you get involved in the rest of the Universus, right? So again, this might bring other people in, but this feels like a very testing the waters. Do these sell? Are these popular? Do the current invested players like them? Is it bringing people in? And then we might see like they expand it to maybe a booster set next year if it does well, or some of those lines, or if they've got the contract to do so. And I think that's if that's the plan, then that's also a good use of the format of these challenger decks.
Yeah,
We'll have to wait and see
it's also, I think, a lot of people happy to see non-anime IPs, because we did get the Godzilla promo and promise of the Challenger, but seeing Vox Machina there, and as big as the My Hero Academia fan bases, as big as Attack on Titan fan bases, there's still anime fan bases. There's going to be a Venn diagram of My Hero Academia fans and Attack on Titan fans that play card games, and a lot of it's already going to be the same people. But Vox Machina has such a dedicated fan base. If they pull this off, they will sell product just because so people can have it, and then hopefully they will also play the game. And if we get a set going for it, that'd be even better. I think this is a really, really good pickup, and if they handle it well and they can pull it off, this will bring in a lot of people internationally as well.
Yes, and like I say, it's a good way of, okay, we test the waters with the challenge decks and see how we go forward. And I think, like I say, I think that's a good way of using these challenge decks, and that's sort of what makes them this good product.
It's also another franchise that Matt Mercer's now in. Matt Mercer's now in UVS. You cannot escape Matt Mercer. Matt Mercer is everywhere.
Yeah. From my wallet's perspective, I don't like the fact there's loads of challenger decks that I can see we have to pick up to play competitive stuff. But that's just
I get away because my birthday is 9 days before this. I'm just going to ask for them for my birthday.
Yeah. And then in June we've got Godzilla, which we all know was coming, right? We all knew there was a challenger deck coming for Godzilla.
So the brief for this said you can play as Godzilla and other kaiju. So hopefully, now we know that Cowboy Bebop and Trigun Stampede are coming with 2 characters, and hopefully we'll get Godzilla and Mothra, because that's the peak combination.
Yeah. And everyone wants Mothra. Yeah. So hopefully we get Mothra.
When this was announced, I spoke to Keenan about it, and Ashley's response as we had them on the stream was literally like, "Fuck yeah, Mothra." So yeah. The Mothra would be a great one, but you could also get Goldra. You could get King. You could get Godzilla. This is going to so you could get King Kong. This Godzilla is going to be a great one. I'm just hoping that it's 2 decks, not just a Godzilla deck.
Yeah, again, I'm okay with it just being a single one, right? And just so it's not, because part of the thing they have to avoid is product overload, and it's getting a little bit there with this lineup, because if you look at something like Magic, that's got massive product overload from my perspective. Like I've not played in years, but just sort of I'm a nerd. I play collectible card games.
I was going to save this to the end, but yeah, Magic the Gathering currently has a new product like every 2 weeks, and they've been doing that for about 2 years now, and it has driven players out of the game. It is so expensive to be a Magic player now to play Standard. It is so expensive to keep up with everything that's coming out, especially with the way that they're sort of like dividing up what works in what formats and what doesn't. You have to keep up with the game as well. It's a lot of hard work for a game that's supposed to be just a fun release from your life, and it's led to product saturation. And when you've got January Challenger, February set, March Challenger, May set, June Challenger, probably July or August a set, then September Challenger, November a set. You're getting a month's break between all the products, which is probably when organized play is going to take place.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not really getting a break from the game until December, when you're going to be gearing up for Worlds. And some people maybe love that, but it's also going to put a lot of additional stress in keeping up with the game and just having to go through it.
Yeah. So then after Godzilla, we've got what was probably one of the, obviously the whole the Critical Role stuff was quite a big surprise to everyone. What surprised me about that lineup obviously was having My Hero and Attack on Titan Challenger decks.
No, see the My Hero Academia Challenger deck didn't come as any surprise to me, because as we all know, Bakugo and Deku have to show up in every single My Hero Academia set, and then in the girl power set, they can't show up. So
possibly, yeah, it depends again whether they're going full all ladies or not.
So
My Hero makes a little bit of sense, right? Because we've only got the girl power set, so it kind of makes sense maybe have like a later year release from My Hero.
And you can chuck Izuku, and you can chuck Izuku in there. You can chuck Katsuki in there, and you can literally just be like, yeah, boom, we've met our quota for having those guys in for the year, and we can get the challenger deck going there.
Yeah, again, that honestly, that might be the reason. It might be like, okay, you're not allowed to do My Hero this year without having something with the boys on, and that might be their way of meeting those contractual obligations. Like, honestly, that might just be the reason, but we'll see. But yeah, it just sort of like for me, for the challenge decks, I want to see what they're doing with those first 5. Right, it's like dipping their toes and stuff, or those IPs where there isn't the content to the booster sets, but they want to kind of have that world in Universus. So, yeah, it felt weird. My Hero makes a little sense because it might be a contractual thing, and also it keeps the My Hero stuff trickling in.
Also, if they wanted to make a challenge, if they want to make a challenger OP series, so like a OP set that's specific for challenger, it does make sense to have a My Hero Academia Attack on Titan set challenge decks in there. Because those are IPs that are going to draw people in. If you have a challenger tournament and My Hero Academia and Attack on Titan can't take part in that, you're cutting out a huge part of the fan base.
Yeah.
So just by having those two sets, having a deck in there, you're going to increase your attendance at challenger only events.
Yes. Again, it might be OP driven, right, as you say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like Attack on Titan challenge deck releasing roughly the same time as like the booster sets. Felt like, because this is like, in theory in my head, the supplementary challenger products were like separate from those booster sets and let you bring out the Universus at the same time. So having them at the same time didn't make sense to me.
My current 2 head theories on this is that challengers might be being introduced to replace Clash.
It may well be, right?
Or that it's in there for a OP that we're not quite being made aware of yet.
That was the case, right? My understanding was Clash decks are there as like an introductory thing. These are more
streamlined decks for OP play. They're more competitive versions.
Yeah, like they're supposed to be playable out of the box. Like you can take Clash decks or locals, but like they're not going to do great. These are supposed to be a lot more tailored to a competitive environment, whereas Clash decks are tailored to
like an intermediary starter deck.
Yeah, like I said, that was like the pitch for them, is they're supposed to be competitive decks, whereas Clash decks are meant to be beginner decks.
The big thing is Challenger deck number 8, which in the video they said they want our input on, which to me is really, really weird, because as far as I knew, like, challenger decks and these cards were designed at least a year in advance.
Maybe. Or, okay, so there's 2 things going on. Either they think they can churn one out quickly if they get enough info for it. 2, obviously the question they've asked us doesn't really matter. They already know what it is, but they wanted to generate some hype and some kind of
engagement
and stuff. Totally fine. That's really cool. And also, like, gathers information, right? So they know what that one is, but it means that, okay, 20% of people coming in have asked for X, Y, and Z. Okay, maybe that's one we should look into. And it gives them ideas that maybe they haven't thought of internally.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe they've never heard of X, Y, and Z.
I know there was a few people.
Like, okay.
I know there's a few people after Levi mentioned fighting games that were expecting a Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, with the fact they got new games this year as well coming out as a challenger. But
yeah,
what?
Again, that's why I expected the fighting games to exist, is in the challenge decks.
Yeah.
So yes, it is surprising I didn't see it. I'm not disappointed. I don't care whether fighting games come in or not. I think the move away to more generally popular licenses is a good thing.
Well, I was going to say, as a person who's not too familiar with any of the licenses that have come out and literally started watching My Hero Academia because of the game, what IP would you put in that 8th spot?
I mean, the one I did post in the thread on Discord, and my vote was like an old school anime. So, and like, I mean, like a movie, like, so, and this is the stuff that I've actually, watched and really enjoyed. So, like, my probably number 1 would be like Ghost in the Shell, because I love that film.
And yeah, they are partnered with the manga that publishes Ghost in the Shell and Akira.
Obviously, there's a lot of those old school 90s anime movies that cannot be printed in card form. I'm looking at you, Iwatsuka. So, Iwatsuka Doji. There's a lot of them that are definitely not family friendly. But
Attack on Titan isn't family friendly. Yu Hakusho isn't really family friendly. It's very violent. Godzilla is 100% not family friendly.
Yeah, I mean, Iwatsuka Doji, I think it was they got to number 5 in the film series, and if you wanted to buy it on DVD, you could do, but it was so perverse and graphic that they're only allowed to release a DVD version, which was effectively like a storyboard walkthrough and not the actual full animated film.
Oh damn! Okay,
because it was that bad.
See, my ideal 8th slot would be an older anime as well that it came out around the same time as Cowboy Bebop and gets compared to Cowboy Bebop a lot, and is the sole reason why I haven't watched Cowboy Bebop, because the fans of Cowboy Bebop turned me off it so much, because the first anime I watched when I was a kid was Outlaw Star. It was on. I used to have to babysit my brothers, and it was on at 1 a.m. on Toonami. So I'd sit and watch it, waiting for my mum to come back, and I fell in love with it. It was really cool. It has mechanics that work for the game. There's a lot of people I know that play this game that love Outlaw Star. It has concepts like Omni blocks and negating abilities already within this space cowboy show with all these different power-ups, but it's so old and it's such a niche reference that I don't think anyone is going to let me bring this to an event and start shooting them with my caster. But I did message people, and I've already started going for this, is I think Invincible should be number 8. It shares a domain with Vox Machina on Amazon Prime. It's a fighting cartoon / anime. It's very, very good. It's kind of set up for it here, and a perfect challenger deck would be Omni-Man, which fits what everyone's looking for. Omni-Man is in a fighting game. He is in an anime. He is voiced by J.K. Simmons. He will hit. If you put an Invincible one there, you will hit so many demographics.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good options, right? So it's sort of, I think Levi hinted it was going to be sci-fi. So I don't know what that would be.
Before Vox Machina, I had a theory that if it's got a live action, then it's going to get picked up by UVS, because Cowboy Bebop live action, Trigun does not have a live action but was brought back. I think a live action might be in the works. Attack on Titan has a live action. My Hero Academia has a live action in the works.
Godzilla, new film.
Godzilla has a new film, and there's lots of live actions. Yu Hakusho's live action comes out on Thursday. Vox Machina is technically started off as live action as Critical Role D&D.
Yeah.
So Akira or the Battle Angel series, which have got live actions, because Akira's got a live action coming as well, would have been a good one. An Akira Challenger set would be really good and would fit the live action.
I mean, that was on my list. Akira, Ghost in the Shell. Like I say, there's old school 90s anime films. Ninja Scroll.
Ninja Scroll might not be the. If we're going with family-friendly adaptations, Ninja Scroll is not on the list.
Yeah, I mean, Ninja Scroll wasn't so bad. There was definitely worse ones.
This is anime. There's always a worse one.
Oh, yeah. There was another one which was all about punching people, and I'm trying to remember what it was called. In around that sort of time.
Ultimate Muscle.
No.
But that would be a good one. It's an old reference, but it checks out. I mean, if you're going sci-fi, there's Log Horizon, SAO. There's so many sci-fi animes they could go down the route of. But then they could also go live action. They could pick up Firefly, which is just a live action Outlaw Star. Come at me. Since someone's made that comparison to me, all I can see is Firefly is that someone watched Outlaw Star went, I can make that with real life people, and that's all I can see now.
Yeah.
Alien would be a cool one.
Oh, what is it? The Alien films? That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Bring an Alien in, yeah.
Gets an Alien versus Predator Challenger deck would be insane.
Yeah. Why haven't they done that already?
Is
like...
Lenoco still here? We're giving the ideas out. Alien versus Predator clash deck. Get it going. You can just make it a challenge deck. You just have the cat. You can switch between Alien and Predator, so you can just have essentially the same cards going up against each other.
Yeah, Alien vs Predator seems like almost like a no-brainer at this point. Yeah, no, you've sold me on that one. I don't know why I didn't think of it before.
We did it. We have to take it to Discord, see what Discord say. I hadn't really thought about it until I was going through you mentioned Levi hinting at sci-fi, and some people said Terminator, but Alien would be really cool. I think the biggest issue with getting hold of Alien is the Disney wall, because it's owned by Fox, which is owned by Disney.
Yeah. Something like, I don't know. I don't really know it. Gundam, I suppose, would be another kind of sci-fi-ish thing.
Gundam's really good. I think it's got a Vice Sports one. It also depends on which Gundam. There's loads.
Right. Again, yeah, I don't know too much about it.
Techimio would be a good one. Fate, the entire Fate series. Jose would absolutely love Fate. The main issue is there's just too many. I could literally make an entire podcast episode where I could do a 3-hour podcast talking 1 minute each about, what is that, 180 animes that could be adapted into this.
Yeah. It doesn't really fit to a fighting game, but there is definitely one, if they did something as a sort of, whether it's a clash deck or a booster set, that would just make me wail so hard for exiling everything, would be Laputa. Just as it's my favourite film ever made.
Oh, Lenoco's here. Lenoco. Lenoco said, listen, if you were here when we were talking about it, it was literally, we were just saying that Alien versus Predator as a clash deck or a challenge deck would just be the best.
Yeah. Fist of the North Star. I've been googling. That was the one.
Fist of the North Star got a redo. Not so much. Shaman King. Shaman King would be a really good one to pick up, and it's getting a new adaptation.
Yeah, but yeah, Alien vs Predator I think would be sweet in Universus.
So if I was to do Slonoco, am I allowed to split them up based on series, or do I have to stay with connected universes? Like, can I do Eden Zero, Rave Master, and Fairy Tail as 3 individual ones? Or because they share the same universe, do I have to do it as one anime? Because
Ross Toss in chat, hello, welcome. If they're releasing out products in 2025, we're looking at a standard format with 10 booster sets and 16 challenger decks by the end of 2025. That's a whole lot of cards compared to where the game has been with MHA only. Yes.
So
I think that's possibly a good thing. I mean, again, not a good thing from a wallet perspective, but a good thing from having lots of cards and diversity in the format. And in theory, obviously the challenge decks don't add too much to the format.
No, right? But that's actually a really good point that Rostos has made, is that old standard used to be the last 10 sets. And if they're going off it, then our current standard will start off as 8 sets. And will then end as essentially will end at 12 sets.
It gets into it's 2-year rotation, isn't it? So eventually we'll get into a situation where it's
12. We'll have 12 sets in standard at the end of the year.
Yeah,
because it doesn't rotate to the next set of the previous year. So by 2025, we'd have at the end of 2025 we'd have 2023, 2024, and 2025. So that would be 3 sets, 4 sets, 4 sets, which is 11. But then at the end of 2026, we'd have Yu Hakusho, Girl Power, Attack on Titan, and if they keep the same release pattern, 4 more, then 4 more. So we'd have 12 sets in standard and 24 challenger sets at Universus Worlds.
Yeah.
Which is a hell of a lot of cards.
Pose on the screen, but
yeah, I mean there are other. I mean you say that's a lot of cards, but then if you look at things like Yu-Gi-Oh, which has hundreds of thousands of cards, and Pokemon, which
yeah, I mean they just don't have rotation because they're insane.
Yeah.
So I don't know why my camera's frozen there, but yeah, I mean that's not crazy. Again, the challenger decks. So if they're what? They're 60 cards plus the characters.
Yeah, well they've got this special booster in there. I'm just thinking about that because.
But it's not going to be 60 individual cards, right? So you're talking about adding maybe 25, I guess, just as a number out my butt for each challenger deck into the format. Yeah, I think it goes from
that's right,
to 11 back to 8.
Plus,
9,
you'll
10,
have
11,
the clash decks
8, 9, 10,
and
11.
the and like class reunion and stuff. But I was just thinking, the poor design team.
Yeah.
Say each set. Say we take the average, and each set is 130 cards on average. So you're talking 520 cards a year in main sets. Then you've got 25 times 8 is what? 200 cards?
Yeah.
So you've got another 200 cards on top, which is 720. Then you've got, say, another 36 cards for clash decks with each one. So times that by 4 is 120, 146. So you're talking 866 cards a year they need to have designed and ready to go. Not taking into account cost reprints.
That sounds crazy, right? 866. So if you think about, let's say, Magic standard, they tend to do 4 sets a year. They're usually around 250 cards, I guess, in a set. So that's not an unreasonable number.
But take into account the size of the design team of Wizards of the Coast compared to UVS.
I appreciate. No, I get that, but from in terms of an amount of the card pool, but that's good, right? They've obviously got this ambition, and
it's great ambition. I'm just hoping that the design team don't suffer burnout because, not including additional stuff that might come out. Call it round it up to an even 1,000. 1,000 cards a year for a team of 5 or 6 people.
Again, you'd expect they're expanding, and they've also got 15 years to think about reprints and stuff like that. They've done a lot of that, so they bring it. Lets them bring cards back. Whether it's direct reprints, whether it's functional reprints, or whether that's.
But it also depends on what card they're trying to reprint, because some are locked by IP.
Yeah, but it also it could be sort of mechanical reprints. So again, they just print the same card with a different name, or they can print a spiritual reprint, right, where it's effectively the same card but maybe toned down or toned up.
I hadn't thought about that until Rostos brought it up, and it's 900 cards for the design team. That's
Yeah, no, it's a lot, but again,
it's not the amount; it's the pressure for that kind of creative output, because you've not only got to produce 900 cards a year, you've got to make sure that those 900 cards interact with 1,800 cards that don't break the game. You've got to test to make sure that those cards are functional. You've then got to go back and re-up the cards. That's a lot of work. That is a lot of work.
Yeah, it is, but that's fine. We'll soon find out if they're biting off more they can chew. But
new plan. If I win the Wish tournament, I'm going to wish that the design team get more holiday days.
Just expand them. And that's the thing. Just you throw more people at it. If you want to get bigger, you have to expand your company, right? So again, but that's internal stuff that who knows.
I wonder if you could. I wonder if you could wish for a job on the design team. I wonder if you could get away with that.
But yeah, that's the roadmap. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's nice to know what's coming. I think my one actual complaint, other than them not being a cosplay, was no OP announcements.
Well,
I
we
think that's
know we
what
knew it
everyone
wasn't
wants,
going to be an
right?
OP. We knew this was a product roadmap. We know OP's coming
No,
next year.
and
We know the first part of the OP is going to be the Wish tournament. So my expectation is we're going to get a full sort of OP announcement at the HLC, because we know that March is sort of going to be taken up by the Wish tournament. So if they announce the plan for OP starting in April, in early February, that kind of makes sense.
yes, but also I think ultimately I think they are well aware of everyone's desire for the knowledge of what's coming,
They
right?
are, but I think there's a good sort of
But
closing
and also,
chapter for MHA if they announce the future of OP at the last HLC.
yes and no. Again, partly it'll be a case of they want to get the timing right for it of the announcement. Partly it's because I'm sure they're still ironing stuff out and
Yeah,
working on stuff.
they've
Um,
got Challenger, they've got the new sets, they've got Spotlight that they need to get working
and
because
I think it's important to get this stuff out before things like Trigon and Bebop drop and Dot and Yu Hacker Show drop. And part of
I
the other thing I was going to mention earlier is keeping people in the game,
yeah
because it's a big challenge, I think, for the company going forward, is keeping people invested in this multi-universe IP. So
I
there's a lot of
don't
people that
think
have
we'll
got
get
in.
OP announcement before the challenges decks hit. We were told it was going to be next year that we get the OP. I think they hinted at that.
No, it's been hinted at being soon. That's all we've heard,
Okay.
and we've heard no further. So the reason I say that is because I think there's a lot of people that got in for the license, right? The My Hero license, and you want them to stay for the game, and that's part of what these are. They want to come in for the license, stay for the game, and
Yeah.
the game is good. That's why we want to play it. But I think there are people who will say, okay, I don't care about UU, I don't care about Attack on Titan, I don't care about any of those ones on the bottom. One My Hero set, I'm out, right? There's going to be an amount of people that do that. And it's trying to then keep them engaged and keep them interested and keep them coming back and keep them in that game. And I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's a challenge. I don't know what the answer to it.
you've got people like Scott from the UK group that's literally like, I don't care what's on the cards, I just want to play the game. But
Yes, and
then
there are people like that. Like, I enjoy the game and I'll keep playing, no
yeah,
matter the IP. All the while it's going.
my friend Andrew, who's a Midoriya fanboy, was very upset when they were moving away from My Hero, and like the fact that My Hero's not, like, you've got UVS play, you've got UVS games. My Hero's sort of like being swept under the rug, and he was really worried that the MHA was going to get no support, and if it doesn't have a competitive spotlight, I do think we're going to lose a lot of players, which
Yes,
is
exactly.
why
It's a lot.
this OP announcement needs to be done very well, because Spotlight
Yeah,
needs to
so I
have a
understand them
competitive
wanting to
side.
do it right. I understand them wanting to make sure it's like okay, but I think it needs to be soonish to make sure people just say, and also from like the store's perspective, right? Looking at okay, how much do I get in of like Dark Tournament? How much do I get in of these Clash decks? Like, because our people are going to stick around. Like having that, I think having that roadmap of what's happening next year is a very important thing to get out. And obviously, again, I don't know what the answers are, but the powers that be internally to UVS Games having this kind of plan and an idea of how they keep people invested in this game
I
as
wonder where they're going to
universal
stock.
rather than the My Hero Academia card game.
If you're a store
And
owner, do
having
you
that,
store the Vox Machina Challenger set with the D&D stuff or with the card gaming stuff?
I have no idea. It depends on your shop real estate and how you do the stuff. You probably do it on both. If you're being honest, you probably put it with that stuff, and you probably put a couple of sample ones with the D&D stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well,
I think the biggest thing for me is going to be market saturation. Look, like we talked about, Magic did it and they came with such fire, but they have got it under control. And I think flooding the market with so much product is it's a bold move. It's a massive respect as a bold move,
yeah.
and if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, they can cut back. I think this is a great way. This is a great way to test the water.
There's also like you could maybe things like the Critical Role stuff are quite insular, right? And the kits are insular. So it's like if you want to play these cards, you play these guys, you get these decks, but there isn't anything that necessarily you need for other decks. So if you're like, I don't care about the IP, I just want to compete playing Universus, I don't need the cards in there, I can skip this one from a wallet's perspective. So having that as like an option, I think could be good.
Until we get the OP roadmap, we don't know how next year is actually going to be impacted by the product. But it's really interesting.
And that's why I think it's important, because it means people have something to aim for next year, right?
It is something I'm worried about, because there's no community in my area. I play online, I play the games I can get hold of, and all this product coming in and the constantly shifting meta is going to make it very hard for me to stay competitive.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just like a personal point. But yeah, once we get the OP map, I think everything will start to slot into place, and that's when the real conversation can start as to where this is going.
Understanding that roadmap, and I think it's an important part of the marketing of the game, right? So organized play loses the company money effectively, but it is a marketing spend for organized play, and it's important for organized play to be organized and have stuff at the local level support shops, but also I think there does need to be this aspirational aspect to it of that roadmap of locals and to RLEs to nationals to world championships and all that stuff. I think it needs to be there, and I think the sooner they can be confident and happy to release that information, the better.
Yeah. Well, we've got 2.5 weeks left of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully get some more information. It would be really cool. So I think there's just one last thing to cover before closing up, and this will be a nice little surprise for you as well. So basically, the week on Sunday is Christmas Eve. I don't think either one of us want to be recording on Christmas Eve, especially seeing as I'm going to be away for that. So this upcoming Sunday, I was thinking of doing a community seasons beating event.
Okay.
So TTS games, just as a recording, where we'll start off with you versus me, but I will only be playing Santa Claus. So I'll be playing an old dog new tricks deck. So I'll only be using MHA cards, but my character will be Santa Claus.
Okay.
And I'll be accepting challenges from all MHA decks or old dogs new trick decks to take down Santa Claus.
Fair.
I thought that'd be a nice little interesting thing to do. I don't think anyone else has thought to do it. And this game has a Santa Claus card, and I think it's something we should use.
That fair dues.
And it starts with 12 counters. So Tasty Rift is gonna love this card.
Mm-hmm. It does share it's good, right? And life is 0-2 life.
Possibly life water. Yeah, I think it's good life water. Yeah. So I talked to Squire about this. If it didn't have the text that you can only remove counters with its ability, I was going to make a muscular counter removal deck with it, just try and cheat out a win. But it can only remove abilities with its card. I'm not expecting to win a single game because I give you cards for my counters.
Okay.
But I want to just have a nice little community event, see if we can get people to play. It might just be one game of me versus you playing Santa. We might get some people coming in to play. I think it's a nice, fun little concept. And it could be really cool just to play a few hours of seasons beating.
Okay, yeah.
I thought I'd spring that on you because I didn't think you'd be not up for playing against Santa.
No, I'm all good. I can probably make something meany to play against it.
You could just play Storm Booty.
Yeah, I'll probably play that. But that's like a meta-defining deck, so I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, this is Santa Claus. It's all good. But yeah, if people, I'm going to put it in the Discord as well, just to let people know. But I need to build this deck. I've been playing too much Baldur's Gate, so my next few days I'm going to be focusing on building a fun Santa deck for Sunday, and possibly trying to get a deck going for the weekend as well.
Okay. Fair dues. Okay, well,
Yeah, I think
we
that's
can
it.
wrap it up there. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Lenoco, get to work on that Universus Predator license.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, obviously do all the things, all the algorithm things. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching. And if we don't speak to you before, have a wonderful Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you Sunday for seasons beating. But if not, happy holidays in however you like celebrate the holidays, and take care of yourselves. December is a hell of a month for mental health awareness. If you need any help, please go out there and get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to end it on a downer, but I've done research and stuff like this when I was in college on how bad December is mental health. Just know you are loved, you are special, and if you are feeling down over the winter holidays, feel free to reach out. Well, I'm more than happy to talk to you and have a laugh.
Yeah, or jam some games, or do whatever you want.
Yeah, jam some games, just have a chat, watch some anime, and have some fun. But please,
yeah, maybe actually that's something we should do over Christmas. Actually, is do a watch along of something, where you introduce me to some sort of nonsense.
We can sort something out for next week. I think I'm leaving on Friday, so we can sort something out next week.
Yeah.
We'll get some Christmas anime episodes up or something. But we can sort about that during the week. We'll head off now. Big shout out to this community. Everyone's always got each other's backs. We love you all. Have a great day.
Yeah. Thanks everyone.
Bye. See you soon.